We're on.
I know, right? So, hi, Tamara Mark.
Hello there, Leigh Keckner.
I met you. I don't know the very first time. Do you know the very first time we met?
I remember the first time that I recall meeting you was
Tell me what that.
in Minda's writing group when we were at Catherine Curry's guest house for the writing group. And Minda called me and she said, I can't wait for you to meet Leigh Keckner because you guys are going to be fast and furious friends. And I can't wait. So I walked in and I went, that's got to be Leigh. I mean, I knew it. It was like instantaneous. Like, I loved you.
I loved you too.
Really? And we sat next to each other.
But she didn't tell me that.
She didn't?
No,
Oh.
but I ended up sitting next to you and I was like, I want to sit next to her every time. But then you didn't come back.
And then I didn't come back because,
Because I was like, I have a new good
hit the
friend.
fan. I know. Because you're like besties from the get-go. I was like, oh my God, I've met like the most authentic, fabulous, charismatic, funny, brilliant you.
You are so precious.
It's
Thank
so
you for
true.
that.
It's so true.
But
I just loved you. It was like, there's my sister.
No, I felt the same way about you.
Really?
Those same things. I was like, not only are you hippie, sexy, chic, but you have a presence and a kindness and your eyes are filled with love. And I was just like, I want to be around her while I'm being creative and vulnerable because I love to be vulnerable.
Me too.
Especially when I'm writing, right?
And you know that I love to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like you and your
we
writing.
Can't help it.
I know. It's like on our sleeve. I mean, on our no sleeves.
On our no sleeves. On my open shoulder dress.
And I can't.
I know. Look at her.
I'm a little uncomfortable.
Do you talk about how old you are?
No, but you can. No.
How old are you?
Old. No, I'm young at heart.
But you're not comfortable sharing your age.
Well, I mean, anybody can Google you.
Well,
right?
then say your damn age.
I'm 61.
Damn. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't she look amazing? Yeah. She's so
really?
Beautiful and sexy.
Oh my God, you guys are so kind. Thank you.
You're 61. I'm not
really?
either.
Oh, wow.
I'm not being kind either.
Wow. And if you knew my life, if I didn't have the life I had, I'd probably look better.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Can we jump right into your life?
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about your life from the people who don't know you yet.
Well, from my messy, imperfectly perfect life. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
I call it, I put a perfect in there as well because it's perfectly imperfect.
It's perfect.
It's perfect.
It's perfect. But if you say perfect, it's a turnoff.
Yeah. So I say perfectly imperfect.
Yeah.
But I like your title. I'm not trying to rebrand you.
Yeah. It's like, I like it. I like that because it takes me off the hook from doing it right.
I get it.
It takes me off the hook from having to read people's stuff and remember how to say their name. No, I want to learn about you with the people that I'm with these people.
Which is why I follow you anyway, like when you were starting your little Facebook lives and stuff, because you're so natural and you're so engaging and you bring people in and you're so vulnerable and you're so real and it's fun to watch you. You're like a very interesting person.
I am.
You are.
I
fabulously interesting.
I'm saying that as an observer, as my true self,
as your true self,
watching my human self.
Right.
And my true self is scratching its head all the time, like, what are you doing now? You're out of control.
I love it, though. I love that you're unabashedly you.
And, I am unapologetically who I am.
And I love that.
And I spent years, ballsy. I've got balls.
You do. I've been out with you, so I know.
I do have balls. Well, the bad thing is I have balls sober and just in my everyday.
Right.
And when I have a couple cocktails, it's unleashed in a way where you shouldn't quite be that unleashed. I need to get a little pulled back.
Remember at Marianne Williamson's night when you were so funny. You were just meeting everybody and talking. It's hilarious.
Wait, what's Marianne Williamson? Haven't we been to two events together?
The one that we went to at it was at the theater, and then we went afterwards. It was when she had the thing at the Saban.
Oh. But didn't we go to a private party with her upstairs?
No, that's what I'm talking about. The private party.
If I sit down and they keep refilling my wine, I don't know how many glasses
I mean, you talked to everybody. You were like, I watched you and I thought, God, I'd love to be that free.
You know what else is I do that I've observed lately is I go out and I have cocktails and I feel like, who is in here? And I just go sit in booths and I just go sit with people and the people I'm with are like,
who are you? It's because you love connecting with people.
I can't take it.
You're just a people lover of humanity. You're just one of those people. You want to know everything about it. And see, that's where you and I mirror each other because I go out by myself all the time. And people go, how do you go into places by yourself all the time? I'm like, because I love to meet people I've never known before. Because it's a character study, right? It's also like they don't know who you are. So you can show up and really be yourself in the way you want to present yourself. So they don't have any preconceived idea like, oh my God, she's blah, blah, blah with blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I can.
You are so beautiful.
Oh God.
Your face is like caramel.
You are very kind.
What is that color skin?
I don't know.
Are you ethnic?
I'm a mutt.
Do you have something like Latina or something?
People always think I do, but I've never done the 23andMe.
Let's scrape your gums out later and send that shit in. I want to know because your skin is like caramel.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty.
Thank you. That's very kind. You have gorgeous skin.
Say what?
You have gorgeous skin.
I have a secret.
You do?
Yeah. I'll share it with you.
Okay.
Well, it's my face product that's super cheap.
Really?
And I get stopped all the time.
I love secrets.
And people say to me,
and good face products.
Why does your skin look like that? And I say Botox and vodka. And they're like, no, seriously, we're not talking about your wrinkles. We're talking about your actual skin.
Yeah. No, you look and you have gorgeous.
Well, I just put on coconut oil because I had kind of like man scaly legs a minute ago after I took my pants off to put on this dress for this. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so I love that dress.
Coconut oil, really, I'm noticing my legs right there.
They look really nice.
They look shiny.
All shiny
right?
and yeah.
I put a little
I can't see without at a distance without glasses.
See a little shiner.
Thank God I can see Ben. I can see Ben because
I can't see without my glasses.
But I can't see
either.
a screen or
no.
But
we can kind of see ourselves softly.
Yeah, that's the way I like to see myself.
Right?
By the way.
Just soft lighting.
Very soft. At night.
So I want to just say something about you.
Okay. That
I find really unbelievable, and I want to understand it, and I want to hear the ins and outs and how it rolls your life, because I have 5 children.
Jesus. And
my first one had some extraordinary stuff that I figured out with him as I went, but it was like a full-time job for me to try and navigate. Or
was it health issue or was it?
No. He was just very different from the get-go.
Okay.
And I kept noticing things and asking teachers, is something like, does he have OCD? Do you notice these things? They're like, no, I don't see anything. And I kept noticing stuff in his handwriting and his social stuff and all this kind of stuff. I was noticing and his temper tantrums were something. He was my first kid, so this was all I knew. But I remember thinking, hell, my mom had 6 kids and she was in bed and everything just panned out however it did. But I'm having a hard time doing one. What's going on?
Yeah.
This is way harder than I imagined.
Well, yeah, I understand.
And I would take him out, when he was 1 to a restaurant and he would want the salt and pepper shaker and I'd take it and he would, just this blood curdling thing. And I was like, give him the fucking salt and pepper shaker. I want to finish dinner at least. Then I realized I couldn't take him out because it was too overwhelming for him.
Wow.
He couldn't have the coping skills to not yet navigate what he.
Wow.
And then I was like, I guess you can't take out a 1-year-old. And then the next day we went out and everyone had a 1-year-old. I said, what's going on? Are we bad? What? Are we bad parents? Because
yeah, right. That's happening? Where you go. That's where you go.
Because everybody else,
you blame yourself.
Are smiling. Or I took him the happiest place on earth and he screamed the whole time. I was like, even Disneyland?
Yeah. Sensory.
Can we have, everything was overwhelming and it took a lot for his brain to process. And he is one of my most beautiful. They're all beautiful. Their hearts.
Have beautiful kids.
But their hearts are beautiful. And Charlie has one of the most beautiful hearts, but I just was navigating him. He was just trying to live himself and I was trying to figure it out. And that was so overwhelming.
And it was your first kid.
It was my first fucking, and then I was like, I didn't know it was this hard. And then the next one came, she's like, gaga cuckoo. I got big blue eyes.
How lucky that you
And I was like, oh, this could also be what it's like. Oh, it wasn't me. I didn't suck.
No.
Well, kind of. It's some things. I got to set them up to something to overcome when they're older. But anyway, you have 2 of that.
Yes.
And
now they're,
okay. So tell about your sons.
Well, Ian is now 21 and Harry is 18. And I just want, I get emotional when I talk about them.
Oh, why wouldn't you? It's your heart and it's your life.
And it's so funny because my emotion is not sadness. It's love.
It's love. So she has 2, would you say
they're
severe?
They're severely autistic.
Severely autistic. nonverbal.
They're nonverbal.
And they're big ass men.
They're big ass men. And they're like 6'1", 6'2", and
I think too in this nation, after they're 18, the government does not help anymore. They don't. There's nowhere to go. There's
till
nothing.
22. I have till 22.
Till 22.
When Ian has 1 year left in his specific what he's doing right now, and I'm doing a lot of things with a lot of great friends that I've met through our dearest Minda Burr.
Minda Burr.
Yeah, our sage guru of fun and creativity and joy. And
She's
I love her so much.
kind of my adopted mother.
I know, right? She's
and you're wearing one of her jewelry.
And I'm wearing one of her
pieces.
Her pieces because
they're all
she's
a piece
very
of
gifted
art.
and she's so loving. But she's brought me into this amazing group of people, men and women, that have just shifted into the joy chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just see the tenderness when you cry, and I see the love. But I also know from having one kid who had a little bit of stuff going on and kind of grown up, and he can talk, and he's living in a apartment. You know, he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
And did both of yours get autism around that? I think they all do around 2.
Well, I don't really want to discuss how I feel it happened because it's not really important, but they did change after a vaccine. At different times. Ian, we'd come back from Europe and he had a little bit of a cold. And the Dan doctor that I had said, oh, he's fine. We'll just give him the MMR. In the next, that night, he didn't sleep. He screamed. But then he shut down and he couldn't be touched. He wouldn't eat. He would only breastfeed. He had been all over Europe and eaten, goat cheese. And I mean, he was like eating.
Yeah.
And he just stopped communicating. And he had words. Like he was saying things like, he'd point to the moon or he'd say mama, or his first word was Baba. He pointed to a picture of Mary Baba. I'd never told him who it was. And he just went Baba.
Wow.
And he just was a very beautiful, everywhere we went in Europe, they were giving him religious medals. People in Paris were giving him flowers. He just had this aura of something.
Oh.
And when he shut down, it's hard to talk about, but
I'm so happy that you're crying, and I'm so happy that you're talking about it. I'm going to cry because you made me cry. But
I'm sorry. People, really, I love talking about it because I'm a very emotional person, obviously, but I'm also strong like you are, but I'm very...
Oh, we're tender.
Yeah. People don't get that always.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of big personalities.
Big personalities.
Yeah.
And we do like to have fun.
We do.
And we do like to come out and laugh and forget the heaviness.
Oh, God, yes.
Right? It's like, let's go out and kick it and have fun. But we all have this fucking mess.
I'm sorry, I look terrible as I cry. So I was afraid to be on camera.
No.
But
you know what? You're so beautiful. Who cares if there's mascara?
Anyway, but what happened was
and to see your baby disappear.
Yeah, and I mean, he literally just went away, and it was. I went to the doctor, and he said, "Well, why? What happened? Why is he crawling again?" I go, "Well, why don't you tell me why he's crawling instead of walking?" And then he would talk to him, and he couldn't touch him, and he wouldn't answer anything. He goes, "I think he's gone deaf." So I'd go to the park, and I'd go, does he seem, you're
asking people
you're
around
talking
you.
People, does he seem different to you? Is there something, going on with him that you think? And they're like, no, that's just a 1-year-old. That's la la la. But meanwhile, he's never stopping. He never sleeps. He can't be touched. He won't respond to his name. So we're at the kids gym. You remember? Not kids gym.
Yeah,
What's it
my
called?
gym.
Not the My Gym, the kid museum in Pasadena.
Oh, okay.
I forget what it's called. But anyway, we used to go and
Children's Museum.
Whatever. And they brought in a police car, and all the little kids, Ian is like 2 at this point, but I'd already known that it was happening, but I was still wanting to change it. Like I was in denial in a certain sense. I think I just felt I could.
Had someone labeled him yet?
No.
Okay.
So when he didn't respond, when all the little girls went and boys went like that, and Ian just stood there, had no effect. No effect from the sound of the siren. I thought, he is deaf. So I took him down to John Tracy Clinic. They said, no, he can hear. He hears every little thing. He hears things that we can't even hear. And I'm like, okay, so what's that? So I remember a Newsweek.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And when it's your baby,
Yeah.
And all you want for them is happiness
Yeah.
and wholeness and to experience life.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're seeing your baby who got all of these flowers and people saw him and his beauty
Yep.
freaking disappear in front of your
Yeah.
eyeballs.
And so like when people, people don't understand that parents like me or you who have gone through something so tragic, it's a process,
Mm-hmm.
the way out,
Yeah.
into acceptance.
Yeah.
And, unconditional love. I mean, I always had unconditional love.
But you have
the acceptance,
to work your ass off.
You do. I mean, I've been working
to try and fix it, or make it better,
Lorenzo's
or make it
oil.
the best.
I mean, it was literally.
Yeah. It's a full-time job trying to fix your kid.
Yeah, and I was still having to work, and try to work, and I still try to work. I still do voiceover stuff, but it became so all-encompassing, and I was living with someone who was my ex-husband was not a healthy person, so he created another dynamic that made things challenging.
Okay, so you had 2 kids with this guy.
Yeah.
And then how long was he in it with you?
16 years.
So you were married to him for 16 years with his...
Yeah, but actually I got him out 16, 15, 14 years, but we were married 16. It took 2 years to get divorced.
Okay, can we talk just a tiny bit that he was struggling?
Yes.
So he was struggling with addiction?
Yes.
So you got a man in your home lost in addiction.
Yes.
And you have this little boy who's lost in his own body.
Yeah, and my dad was dying of Alzheimer's or was leaving his body from early onset of Alzheimer's. So every man I ever loved was leaving, but they were still here.
Oh my gosh. That's almost more painful.
Yeah, it was.
Because it's in front of your eyes and you can't have it.
Yeah. And I tried. I mean, I did my best.
Oh my gosh. With addiction, I've learned how people do everything they can to try and be better themselves, make them feel better, guide them, pull them up.
Yeah.
And then when you get so exhausted, you go get help like Al-Anon and learn how to get back to you and learn the best thing you can do is detach with love.
Yeah, and it's
Pray
true.
for him and let him go.
I know, and I had, of course, I did 3 rehabs with him. I did family groups, Al-Anon. I was a very big spiritual seeker all my life. I left my career when it was really happening to go to India and go on a spiritual journey, which gave me the tools in my toolkit to handle all the stuff that was coming. And so you look at it, like our messy, imperfect life is perfect because had I not left at the height of my career, which, everybody was, what is wrong with you?
And you were on Broadway, right?
Yeah, I was on Broadway and I did film and television. And I was really getting into my acting when I came out here after a film I did with Sidney Poitier. And
how sexy was he? Not to sidebar.
Oh my God.
From Mass.
I mean, he was so sexy, but he was like our Hollywood dad,
Yeah. Even how he talks was so like, I could sit and just listen to his voice for hours.
Oh God, yeah.
He's like a warm blanket.
Yeah, he is. And he was all love to us. And he's still he's helped me through my whole career, my whole life. He's even helped when I was doing a fundraiser at the Rose Bowl for Ian to go to a place in Massachusetts called the Option Institute. And we needed to raise $15,000. So we had like a celebrity sort of thing. And I asked Sydney to come and he was out of town. He said, and he called the Option Institute and wanted to pay for the whole thing. But they wouldn't let him do it for me. It had to go to the Institute. So he ended up giving me half the money as a gift.
I'm so glad I paused on his name. What a beautiful man, inside and out.
Yes. Gave me my first TV. My roommate and I, Gretchen, after the film, we moved out here together from New York, and we met on the film and we became roommates. And he gave us our first TV for our apartment in Sherman Oaks. Oh. It was out of his house. It was like our dad. We took Sidney Poitier's television.
That's so sweet.
We should have hung on to it or auctioned it off or something.
Yeah, now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just a timeline. So Ian, your first son.
Right.
When did you get the label autism?
When I sent him, when
How old?
He was 3 when I got the label, when I finally went into I guess I can't fix this. So I did go to the regional center and got him diagnosed. They did all these tests and it was very obvious. And I sent him, I would go to these family groups. I don't know if you did this, go to the park, and your 1-year-old or whatever, all the kids are acting like these certain way. And all you're doing is circling around, trying to keep them calm or running around.
Yes.
I tried to do like parent mother groups where you go and you're with people that are giving you how to be a mother, and you're sharing and all that. I could never sit at one of the talks because I was literally running after Ian like the entire time. I mean, he never stopped moving. He never slept. I haven't slept in 22 years.
Holy Toledo.
I mean, in 21 years, I was pregnant Ian will be 22, but they don't sleep that much. I mean, they sleep now better. Well, that's why I'm also emotional. My son Harry's been in a huge crisis. I mean, it's been like a huge crisis I'm living in right now with him.
What does that look like?
He became self-injurious this summer. I mean, he's done it before where he'll bite his hands or his...
To handle how he's feeling, to try and stop it.
Yeah.
Self-soothing.
His anxiety's so great.
Yeah.
And when summer school ended, they would go out into the community for 9 hours a day or 8 hours a day. And they didn't do anything, or he was having trouble because the routine wasn't what it was. So they'd take him to places to try to calm him down, but he'd keep biting and biting. Finally, they called me and they said, we can hear him biting his skin. I'm like, oh my God. So they had to bring him home. And this was just like last week or week and a half ago. I had to call a doctor, my friend, Dr. Hillary Smith. You know, Hillary, she got me a link to call a doctor to come into the house because he won't go into an office. I can't get Harry touched or looked at by a professional. I mean, we call it drive-by doctor usually because they'll come out to the car and look him over and go, can we try to do his blood pressure? No. Can we touch it? No. I mean, he's so sensory impacted.
He can say no.
He just goes.
They're both nonverbal.
They're non-speaking. They're very verbal with sounds.
Oh, yeah.
But Ian says no really well. Harry's word is bah. He just says bah, bah. Everything's bah. But
oh my God, they're trapped in there.
Yeah, and they are so smart and they're so loving. Like the thing that I think saves me is that there's just this pure love in their presence that you feel. Even although when I'm in the crisis, like I was last week, he doesn't sleep, and I'm his like person. You know how our kids were the mother. So, and I'm a single mother. So he comes, it's like he puts it all on me. Like it's 6 o'clock in the morning. He's pulling me out of bed. He wants me to move the car out of the driveway because the girl that drives the bus pulls her car into the driveway. Even if it's a weekend, I have to do this routine. I pull the car to the street. He makes me park it in a certain place. He
has to have that, or he'll go bananas.
He goes into such high anxiety. And then he holds me on the porch and he goes, ah! Like he screams and he's pointing. And I'm like, Harry, you're hurting my wrist. But he doesn't realize it because he's so strong.
Yeah.
So all his wounds right now, I've got a routine where I do that and then I distract him. I pull away. I go and check on Ian. I put together the backpacks. He's out on the porch. I go, but he'll come out naked. Like they're completely free and clueless on all the things that they, about what's appropriate. And I'll go, Harry, you're a man. You got to go inside and get dressed. Go, ah! He goes in and I go, put on those underwear. You're going to come outside. But anyway, it's been kind of hellish for, it started probably January of last year and it spiraled. We always keep thinking the school, the team, Harry, all of us keep thinking it's going to get better. It's going to get better. And it really spiraled into the worst that it's been in like 3 years.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. So today I had to take him to a psychiatrist, and I'm someone who's very about homeopathy and healthy eating. And I've done every therapy on the planet, but sometimes kids need drugs.
Absolutely.
So he's on a drug to help his anxiety.
Good.
And he slept until 8 o'clock. I had to wake him up. I'm like, oh my God, it is a miracle.
Oh,
it's a miracle today. It's just
that drug gave him a little chance to breathe.
Yeah. He had typed because he goes to facilitative communication where with a facilitator, and they can do it free, but he typed recently. Darlene Hansen sent me what he said last Thursday. And he said, I wish my autism would give me a break. He goes, I never feel calm.
Oh.
I go to bed anxious. I wake up anxious. I'm not sleeping. So I knew that I had to get a hold of his psychiatrist who'd been MIA. So I was scrambling on, messenger to all my, aunt moms. Like, do you know a psychiatrist? And people are like, well, I know you could send him out to this group home. I go, I want my kid. I don't want to send my kid away. I want to help my kid, So, And not that I have judgment about people doing that.
No, this is not about anybody.
No.
This is about you.
Yeah, thank you.
And we're talking about you
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I've spoken with someone on my podcast about autism.
Wow.
And
well, thank you for having me.
Something about you that blows me away is, so you got diagnosed when he was 3, and then when did your next son come?
Well, Harry, I remember we moved into the house I live now on February.
Ian and Harry, they're both such English names.
I know. I don't know why.
They're darling.
So I don't know how that happened. Then there's Tamara, but anyway, I don't know how my mother named me that.
What's Tamara?
Tamara's my name.
I know. But what is that? What do you mean then there's Tamara?
Well, I just mean like it's not like an English name.
Yeah. It's just an interesting one.
It's not a British name. I mean, it's funny, Gretchen, who was an African-American woman in our, we were playing teenagers in the Sydney Poitiers. I was expecting to meet a white girl named Gretchen, and she was expecting to meet a black girl named Tamara. So when we found out, we were
funny.
So she has the white name, I have the black name, and we were,
that's a riot.
BFFs forever. But,
that's a riot.
So anyway, back to
so your son. Yeah. So you have this 3-year-old, and was your husband already in addiction?
Yes, I found out at my wedding. My friend Gretchen told me that he had come down to her condo and had asked for pain meds, that he was having back problems, and she goes, "I didn't want to tell you because it was your wedding,
no.
So she didn't tell me till my mom died. Thanks, Gretchen.
How long later was that? How long later?
That was 5. It'll be 5 years in November. So she just told me 5 years ago. But I know why she did that, and I love you forever, Gretchen. It was
people don't know when to tell you stuff.
No, and that would have really been horrible to know that.
Yeah,
and I knew that.
You have, if you knew that, would you have still married him?
Yeah, because I didn't know it was going to be a problem.
Yeah,
I thought he was a recovering alcoholic. I didn't think about the drug part. So
and they all feed each other.
Yeah, and then he got really addicted to opiates, and
that's what kills people, right?
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah.
Is that what is that actually? Is that not crystal meth, but what is opiates?
He did that the last thing he went into was meth.
Crystal meth. Oh my God.
So it was Oxycontin hell, I call it, and I had 2 babies. I mean, really babies. And it was,
you had your second, how old was Ian when Harry was born?
33 months. So he
has just got diagnosed, and then you get another boy.
Yeah. And the thing was, when I was sitting in the house, that's what I was going to say. We moved in on February 4th, 2000, and Harry was born December 15th, 2000. So I was sitting in the room in February, and I went, Dawn had talked about wanting to have another kid, and I was like, there's something wrong with Ian. I know it. I just don't think I'll have the energy to do it. And you understand that.
Yeah.
Because it's all encompassing.
It's all encompassing.
And so I did a pregnancy test. I'll never forget. I was sitting in my dining room table, and Ian was, I don't know, running around the house or something. And I looked down and I just burst into tears because I thought, how am I going to do this? Now I can't imagine my life without Harry, because he's one of the lights of my life. But it was, in the moment, was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? So I went into super mom mode, and every day with Ian was at the park, singing, trying to get him to look at me, doing all these joining. That's how I read about in Mothering Magazine about the Option Institute, where she healed him by going into a very secluded space, like a bathroom, and worked one-on-one by not trying to make him do things, but joining him. Like if he was going like this, she would join and go. And so I just, from reading this little blip in Mothering Magazine, I started my own thing. And then I ended up going there, and I ran a 14-person program out of my house for almost 2.5 years.
How beautiful that you shared that with people who needed that oxygen mask so bad.
Yeah. And I had these volunteers that came in, and it changed everybody's lives that did it, because well, you know how it is when your kid's not doing well. It's a grief.
It's a grief. It's a deep grief.
Yeah. So these people come in, and then they get really grateful. They're like, oh my God, I think I have problems. You look at that, you go, I guess my problems aren't that bad. I love my friends. They're like, Tamara, when I'm going through hell, I just think about you, and I don't feel
seriously.
I go, I'm so glad to be of service.
Seriously, but I think that about you. I think that it's so freaking much.
Yeah.
And I know that you love them, and I know that they are love, and I know that you're in acceptance, and you're doing it, but it's a so much.
Yeah.
How do you breathe?
Like I say, these great friends that I have, they've swooped in, like, you got to get away for a couple days. Let's figure this out. Let's
Help
figure
you
it
figure
out.
it out so
Yeah.
you can
And
take
you're
care
in
of
a
yourself.
crisis. I'm in a Hillary Ormsby came over. She called and she said, I'm coming over. When I was in the throes of it with Harry, and they had dropped Harry off at my house saying he can't have any services till he sees a doctor with his hands. And they didn't stay to help me. They just
dropped him.
Yeah.
So and you're just like this. I had a routine. Yeah. I got to breathe. Please help me. Don't leave
exactly
me.
It. And they took it away. And I had a meeting with them recently, and I said, please don't ever do that again. If you have to drop him off at my house, please send somebody with you, or have them come to the house. I have a big front yard. I have a big backyard. He can be left alone. He can be in the house. But I've got a life too. I've got to work. I've got to go.
Yeah, he's on your watch right now.
Yeah.
I hear that we need to look at this, but this is your freaking watch.
Yeah. So they said, okay, we'll put it in the report that when this happens again, we can come to the house. I said, thank you, God. It was like, I really thought I was standing at my washer when Harry was like there for doing his screaming and pounding and
okay, so I have a problem with whining, like when Eve's like, I get like anger quick. So how do you navigate screaming?
Yeah.
And that's how they communicate most of the time, right? Is there a lot of screaming?
Well,
big man voices.
They make big sounds. And a lot of times, Harry, when he's in the crisis, is loud. I mean, the whole neighborhood can hear him. My neighbor, who hadn't talked to me in a long time, she'd gone through some stuff, had 4 kids, whatever, and she just thought she had a falling out with her husband. And anyway, she finally talked to me and she goes, how can I help you? She goes, I hear Harry and he's so big, how can I help you? I said, he's in a crisis and I'm working it out, but he hit the side of the house so hard with his hand flat, not like this, just for sensory, so hard. I thought he was going to break his hand, but he made the picture inside the house fall off, and it broke the baseboard. I had all my house redone.
That's how strong he is.
Yeah, and
that's how much is pent up in his body.
Exactly,
and he has to get it out.
He's got to get it out. So we always try to do safe things. Like I always try to say, he knows now instead of windows to hit door jams. But this last time I was standing at the washer, and I just said, I talk to God. I call it Baba. I go, Baba, you picked the wrong girl for this job. You got to send me some relief here. This is just like, whoa, too much. So it's kind of been today. In the last 3 days, there's been sort of a shift of moving out of the crisis. I hope. I mean, I'm hoping. It seems that it's appearing that way.
This is a whole life. This is 21 years of gentle crisis and hardcore crisis.
Yeah.
It's 21 years of continual crisis.
24/7, yeah.
Why do you have a freaking shiny glimmer in your eye?
You're sweet.
How do you
Probably my tears.
How do you not sleep? How do your heart be broken every day that they're trapped in there? How do you think about their future? How do you, oh my gosh.
I know.
And not get that much of a break ever.
No, I know. And that's when people say, oh, you have so much help.
Oh, hell no.
I'm like,
and you know what? I have help at my house. Uh-huh. My kids could give a shit about it. They don't want to talk to them. They don't want them in our house. Right. They don't want, so it's still all me.
Yeah.
With my kids.
Yes.
Unless they say, please let her drive you so I can finish working.
Exactly.
They're here.
Yeah. Because you have to work. You have to have a life.
I want to do, yes.
Well, the therapist or the psychiatrist said, well, you need to have a life too. I go, I have a life. When I'm in a crisis, I don't have a life. It becomes all about fixing the crisis. But, I did get away.
There's always simmering crisis.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm
always on call. Because you don't know in the minute they'll snap.
I know. And I always have I'm always on call. I'm like a doctor who doesn't get paid.
And when they get pissed, do they punch people?
No.
So they're not violent like that.
They're not aggressive that way. It's very rare. I mean, Harry, when his wisdom teeth fiasco and the change, when they dropped a drug on him, he was losing his mind. He did break windows and he hit me in the head, but that was years ago.
And he was losing his mind.
He was losing his mind. Now he hurts himself.
Yeah.
And Ian has seizures. So it's for me, there's always this, like, Harry's like holding me on the porch and I'm like, I need to check on your brother because it's morning and sometimes he has seizures in the morning, so it's, I think in my perfect world,
What would your perfect world look
it
like?
would be a community based lifestyle for them with like-minded people who want to live and breathe and maybe work on a farm or work in a restaurant or have a place where these people can live and work and evolve with animals. They're really good in nature.
So you want to have like a ranch
Yeah.
style living
Yeah.
with almost barracks or whatever they're called, like houses with.
Yeah. What we're talking about with Catherine Curry Williams, it's called Lighthouse, the Lighthouse Project, where we're wanting to build like pocket neighborhood with parents or people that want to live and work with this population, but that there's a community-based area where they can cook and learn and have like a program and a life that
well, it's like even in prison, the guys work and they can make money and but they have this place to live and they're supported. It's hell.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying for the people are not actually, because the outside was even worse for them. They feel better in there, So it's creating something like that where they can go out. They can have equine therapy. I think it's so beautiful. Horses.
Yeah, they used to have it. My kids had that.
I love that.
And Catherine was trying to get this farm up in Solvang. A miniature horse farm was for sale. But they couldn't zone it to build anything on it because it was already set a certain way. But she goes, maybe it could be a day program, where
they bring them in.
Yeah. And we just
like a petting zoo and all that.
Yeah.
Well, my son went to a therapeutic boarding school just outside of Boise, Idaho.
Oh, wow.
In a place called the Eagle.
Uh-huh.
And it was this beautiful ranch.
Love it.
Way outdoors with 600 acres.
Wow.
And the boys all had chores and jobs and school, but they also were out in nature. And I mean, some were trying to run the 625 miles to get the hell out of there, but
that would have been.
Luckily, mine was not a runner.
Harry and Ian, they would have been
gone. My friend's son has pretty severe autism, and he's probably like 9 or 10.
Uh-huh.
And they live in the Hollywood Hills. And any chance he gets, he's gone.
Oh, it's so scary.
So they live kind of like on a thing, and then up there is just nature, and then over on the other side there's a highway.
Oh.
And so they have a helper, but the eyes always have to be on him because all he wants to do is flee, and he runs he's like the best runner ever.
That's like my kids were like that.
But she'll call immediately 911 and they'll say, "Hello, Sophie, where is he?" And they get helicopters and they help her find him.
Wow. Well, I was going to say she needs a tracking. What I got through LA sheriffs from my friend Kate Movius. It's called LA Found. And there's a program, it's for dementia and people that are wanderers. And it's a tracking device radio signal. And it looks like a watch. You can see Harry's wearing his all the time. I can't get Ian to wear it. But you could attach it to his shoe. But if he were to go lost, they can find him.
Oh, I'm going to tell her about that.
It was a huge relief for me because I've had some really horrible things happen where they lost Ian for an hour and a half in the mountains. And he has a seizure disorder. It was like 102 degrees out.
How often does he have seizures?
I don't know because he could have them at night and I'm not aware of it, but I don't even like to talk about it. But maybe every 3 months, 6 weeks, it depends.
Why don't you like to talk about it?
Because it brings one on. Oh. It's that thing, you put.
You don't want to bring that energy in, so we're not welcoming that energy.
No, we're not allowing that.
But I do think it's interesting. And do a lot of kids who have autism have seizures, or it's just special with him?
A lot of them do.
They do.
A lot of them
I didn't
do.
know that.
Yeah, it's more common than uncommon.
Yeah,
especially with the severe end of it.
Is one more severe than the other?
I would say that my friend Holly Charlton, who I met with yesterday, she was Ian's OT, occupational therapist for years. She called me because she was reading my posts on Facebook about what a crisis I was in. So we met to discuss Harry, and she just said, I've learned the most from your children because they're two of the most complex human beings I've ever worked with. And she's been an occupational therapist for like 30 some years.
Yeah.
So, I have two of the hardest, and they're the most diverse in their way of it, their polarity, they're polar opposites. one is very social and appropriately social. Like he'll go up to babies and he loves them and but he might come too fast or too hard, and then it freaks parents out. And then, he'll go up and kiss somebody on the cheek or, know, I'm like, whoa, whoa. And then Harry doesn't want to be around people, and he's really strong, and he's, they're just so completely different. People go, you couldn't believe that they come from the same. They're so,
and all kids are different, right?
Yeah.
So you've got two different severely autistic kids who are completely different.
Yeah. And, Harry has a 2-to-1 at school, which means he has 2 people to help him because he's fast. School? Right now, he's in Pasadena Unified in something called the PALS program. I took him out of high school. I was going to keep him 1 more year just because I held them there as long as I could. And but it's a life skills program offered through Pasadena Unified.
Nice.
And Ian loves it.
Aww.
And he has all these friends now that he loves. And Harry, I want that for him. But Harry's been in this crisis. But Team Harry, Team Ian, they're these amazing souls. And I have to say that my caregivers that live in my house, work in my house, they don't live in my house, but it feels like they live there. They're there every day. I have 3 people that alternate. They come in the afternoons and they stay till 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock at night. And I'm the night shift, and I'm always on call. I'm always there.
You're always there.
But they will take them out and take them walking because, I'm the mom. And now they're at the point where, Mom, I want to go with other people, not just you, which is, I'm so grateful for, because I used to be with them 24 and never took a break.
Yeah.
Now I do, even though it's not a break, it's a break.
Yeah.
I find my ways. But they are the most wonderful caregivers. There are 3 of them, and they're like angels on earth.
Do you pay them?
Yes.
You pay them?
They have to be paid.
No, I know that people work to be paid.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if you paid them or if it's a government program or what.
I get IHSS, which is in-home support services. And any mother or father out there that has a kid with special needs that hasn't gotten IHSS, you need to do that, especially if you have autism. You have to call your regional center person and get yourself on that list and get Medi-Cal. You have to get Medi-Cal. And the reason why I didn't have it till 2008 was because I always had my private SAG insurance.
Yeah.
And so she'd go, well, if you got a Medi-Cal, you could get IHSS, but you have to do that. I said, well, I have insurance. She goes, oh, okay. She didn't tell me that I could have done both. So I paid out of pocket for all these years and went through all my savings, everything, every dime that I had.
Gosh.
So the IHSS that I get goes to my caregivers. And then I have 2 caregivers that are cleared through IHSS, and they get the money. But I still pay on top of it because I pay them more than what is offered. So because I don't think I would have the help that I have if IHSS is it's $11.14 an hour.
Oh man.
No one's going to work with my kids for $11.14 an hour.
No.
Even if you're an angel, which they are, you can't make a living salary on that. And I get the maximum hours because Ian is he would be institutionalized if it weren't for me. Yeah. Same with Harry. So they both get the maximum hours.
I have a friend whose son is so severely autistic and grown up, and he is in a facility. And I think it might have been too, he was getting violent or something in the home. I have a lot
of friends whose kids got violent. They had to send them for a while. They went and lived somewhere else, and it was very good for them.
So this person's son lives there. And
where is it? Do you know?
In New York.
In New York. I hear there's really good things in New York. I mean,
they took him there, and now they can breathe and they can go visit him.
Yeah.
And the people trained in how to do them are there with him. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. As I'm getting older, of course, their future is my whole life, but yeah.
It's so much. It's so much. I want to do whatever I can to help you.
You're so sweet.
Build this community.
I know.
For families to have their kids doing cool things.
Yeah.
And being around kids who have this, men and big, big ass grown-ups.
Yeah.
Who we always just look at the little kids and hear about that, but then they grow up.
And the population of severe autism that my kids are are the most unsupported, the families.
Yeah.
Because when Harry got hard, they just brought him home.
Yeah.
When you're in a crisis, everybody deserts you. It's like, where did everybody just
This
go? I
is
just
when
had
I
a
need you
team,
the
and now
most.
I have nothing but me. And I know that that's not manageable. So, and then people are like, well, you can put him in a home. And I'm like, yes, I could put him in a home. And there may come a time where if I can't do something better, that may happen.
Yeah.
But I'm going to work my damnedest
to keep him with you. That's so sweet and tiring. It's so tiring.
But when I get away, I have a blast. I think I am so grateful for my friends in my downtime that whenever I'm out, I'm having a blast.
You're soaking up every freaking second of it.
I don't think about it. I try to just I compartmentalize what's going on.
Yeah.
And I just
enjoy
my moment. I go into that moment.
You give yourself the gift of being present and enjoying what's in front of you.
Yeah.
Because what is behind you is still behind you.
Yeah. So
you're going to be all in.
Yeah. And like wherever I go, there I am. So for me, and like you're very spiritually driven, and so am I. And I think the thing that saves me is that, I just have a conviction and a foundation, like I'm standing on solid ground, even when it feels like I'm in a tsunami. I still feel like, you know what? I've got like a band of support of angels and guides and Baba and my friends. I mean, earth angels, and I'm grateful. I think my gratitude gets me through.
So how do you practice gratitude every day?
By being kind.
By being kind with who?
With everything. Being grateful. Like literally, I wake up, I feel like Wayne Dyer. You know how Wayne Dyer, I don't know if you ever saw that little movie he did, but he woke up and the first thing he says is thank you. I really start my day like that.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's so simple. And
but wait a second. People hear that. This woman who's been 21 years in crisis and no sleep, and the lifeline to two human beings who can't live without a lifeline. That they need you so much that you don't get breaks from it.
I know.
And then you wake up still and say thank you.
Yeah. You know what I always say? Thank you.
So
You're so sweet. I love you. I thank you for your being emotional like me.
Well, it's so beautiful. Like in that heavy space that's not going to end.
Yeah.
You say thank you.
And you know what I always say to people?
It is going to end, by the way, because we're all going back to the stars with those souls. Yeah. I think we're already there right now. We're just experiencing humanity.
Absolutely.
But you're getting a big ass cup full, girl.
And you know what I always say? I always say to people, this is my favorite lifetime. This is the best life I've ever had.
Could I have one of those? Because now my nose is going to strip. Thank you. And my hair keeps getting caught.
Oh, God. Don't look at me. You can clip it.
Yeah, seriously. I just really admire you. And I want so much for you. I want you to get on some show or someone to watch this and give you a vacation somewhere. And I want that team to come around and cover your sons while you do it.
That would be so awesome.
With a really hot man who will make love to you.
Yeah. That's going to happen.
It is. Let's manifest that for you.
Okay.
Let's manifest a paid vacation by some amazing resort like Punta Mita. Is that what it's called? Punta somewhere in Mexico. It's really freaking amazing. Punta Canta. I don't know. I think I might be saying a bad word.
It sounds sexual.
Punta sounds horrible. But some really 5-star resort where you can be pampered.
Thank you for holding that space for me. I love that
idea. I'm
going
to create that. We're going to manifest that.
Okay.
Because
I'll say yes, please.
When you're this strong of an earth angel to two human beings that you came here to work with, and that you have an abandoned ship, and you're all in with still a little glimmer of love. I mean, shine from your eyes. Like you still have this beauty that exudes from you, and not just freaking, I'm in hell. And you can love those souls and see all the good shit, but it's hell.
Oh yeah, there's times it is.
It's so overwhelming, and you know it's not ending, and it's like, how can I breathe for a minute?
I know. And when the wheel, the cog in the wheel, something happens and something falls apart, or people call out last minute, or people don't show up when they're supposed to, or
When you're holding your breath for them to
yes.
walk in so you can breathe.
Yes, exactly.
And
And,
they don't
when
come.
they like then text me at the last minute, go, sorry, I can't make it today. I literally on those days go, okay, what am I going to do? You know, it's like I'm always creating solution on my feet. Like, you know, I'm like,
just to get by.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just to navigate all that is.
Yeah. And I, you know, and I love my work. Like, you know, I love being an actor. I love doing voiceover. If people go, you need to do that more, you know, you need to do that again. I'm like, you guys, I want to do more, but I've got a big job, you know, that kind of is my focus at this time. Yeah. I never say never to anything. You know, I'd love to do something that documented my life.
Oh, by the way, are you doing a documentary?
I would love to do a documentary.
Well, let's manifest that too, because there's amazing documentary makers out there, especially uplifting women and supporting women and showing what you go through, which is a gift to everyone who has any kid struggle shit.
Yeah, you know, that's sort of, don't you believe that? Because you have 5 kids and you had one that had challenges that made your life, you realize what I go through every day. But then you had 4, but it's still,
they all are human.
And they all have issues.
They all have
challenges.
Stuff. Yeah.
And it's a huge thing. I mean, I admire you for everything you do. I mean, it's mind-blowing. And you're always so generous and so wanting to help everyone. I just admire that about you too.
Oh,
and
thank
just
you.
Your like kick-ass mentality. It's awesome to be in your presence.
Thank you.
Really.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet.
It's true though.
Thank you.
I always speak the truth.
I know, me too. Unfortunately,
we're so honest.
Like, don't ever ask me something unless you really want to hear.
I know.
Or I'll try and say it in a way that's loving, but you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, just don't ask me.
I know. I'm so honest that you're right.
Too.
Yeah. It's a good
I'm
thing.
like, why not?
Yeah.
Why would I say bullshit?
Yeah. And if it's something that I know might hurt somebody, I just don't say
it. I don't say that. I try not
I
to.
heard to hurt people. And when I do, I'm like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you.
Yeah. But people take things how they need to be a victim.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
That's the other thing.
I didn't do something right. And then people are mad at me and I don't even know why they're mad. And I'm saying, just tell me if I was too loud. Just tell me if you don't like that. I'm happy to know.
Yeah.
I'm happy to tweak something.
Exactly.
No, I'm not. Fuck it. I'm actually not. I'm not going to tweak shit about myself to make people feel comfortable. No.
You never do.
No, but if people get mad at me about something, tell me.
I used to be a people pleaser though, back when I was younger. I think I wanted people to like me in a certain way, and I'd make myself kind of, especially as a teenager, like I just wanted to fit in with, because I wasn't someone that fit in, because I was an artist and I was creative and I came from a small town. But, you know, I don't do that anymore. I don't care if people like me, really.
Yeah, it's so
Isn't it great? That's one thing good about getting older.
Yeah, you lose all the bullshit stuff that doesn't matter and causes us suffering.
Yeah.
And I'm done suffering.
I know. Well, I know. I mean, I know I live in a sort of suffering
Well, you don't, because you wake up and you say, thank you.
Yeah. And my friend in India, that's one of my mentors who's now passed, his name was Bal Kelcheri. He always wrote me an email once and he said, there will always be joy in your suffering.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah.
I have a joy, like Minda and I recognize each other like the way I recognized you. It was like an instantaneous, joyous being.
Yeah.
Met another joyous being.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, I've been waiting for someone like you to walk into my life. Where have you been? I'm like, geez.
And mine wasn't, Minda tells a story about seeing me somewhere. And I said, oh, you're the jewelry lady, and kept walking. And she watched me pass. She was like, huh, how interesting. That girl has no idea that we're going to be really close one day.
I love it.
Because I was just stomping around there looking at shit. And I had to go somewhere else. And now she is maybe my dearest friend.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom.
I know, I get it. She is that kind of person. I get it.
She's so beautiful. She was like, you didn't really have someone mother you. And I go, no, I didn't. She was like, check how you are. Ask about your kids. See how you're meeting. When I go, no, I didn't. She goes, I'm going to do that.
Exactly.
Because she's like, I didn't have a daughter and you didn't have a mother. And I was like, I accept that.
Yeah.
Check on me. And so now it feels so good. And I call her to tell her everything about everything.
It's so cute.
And then I yell at her a lot too.
Yeah. Isn't that what's great about a mother-daughter relationship?
I'm like, hurry up, put that down. What are you talking about? I just showed you where your purse was.
Well, watching you guys on the website before she knew it was on, it was hilarious. Could you do something? She'd go. It was hilarious the whole time. She was like, you could see her getting, it was funny. Yeah. It's like such a mother-daughter thing. It was hilarious, but she's not, I get what you're saying. She's just one of the best people on the planet.
We have 5 minutes.
Oh.
So we want to manifest for you a resort to put you up, an airline to fly you out, a team to take care of your kids. So you are the ultimate love giver and caretaker that maybe I've ever talked to.
No.
And for you to have nothing but that for a week or nothing like that for 4 days or whatever feels comfortable for you. We're going to manifest that, and we're going to get the documentary going and find the right person to make it.
Okay.
To show.
I'm all in for that.
And to start figuring out how to do the communities. I'm seeing it being one place, like on a ranch in Boise, Idaho.
Love it.
I know you can't, if you're going to move there with them or whatever, but to create this place where people can come and go. Because when my son was there, I would go for 4-day weekends and we do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But he was there to do him.
I love it.
And
that's what I see. I mean, I could do it in a city, but I would rather be somewhere in nature because that's where they thrive.
Yeah.
And if it's close to a city.
And it's also like far. Starting one somewhere.
Yeah. Like,
having one.
Exactly.
And then from that model,
yeah, exactly.
It goes into like Ojai, and it goes to somewhere with room in New York. And it goes to, because this guy's kid is in a house in New York, but he's interested too in making a difference and doing something. And I think I hooked you guys up, but I'm going to redo that after this.
I know, I got into such a crisis. There's all these people that I was supposed to get in touch with. And like Hillary Smith was like, did you contact? I go, no. Did you? No. It was like, no. Yeah. I'm sorry. It just all fell out.
Yeah. And you could put one of those people that is helping with your son, and there's like a slow time, make them help you do that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
While they're there.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good idea.
So how can they support you or follow you, or is there anything you want to sell or anything that you got going that you want them to check out?
I'm on Facebook. I use Facebook as a very big platform of my expression at this point. I do have an Autism Musings of an Aunt Mom page. That's a Facebook page. I'm on Instagram.
So let's say, what is your handle on Instagram?
Tamara Mark 27.
Mark is MARK. Tamara is TAMARA. MARK 27
at yahoo.com or whatever it is, but I think it's just that
for Instagram.
Yeah.
So, and they can find you at Tamara Mark on Facebook. And then what's the name of your page for autism?
It's called what is it? Musings of an Aunt Mom. I think it's called Autism.
I'm also going to put you in touch
Autism
with
Awakenings, Musings of an Aunt Mom.
Matt Asner. Do you know him?
I know Matt.
Oh, good. I was going to say, I'm going to
I know Matt Nava very well. Hi, Matt Nava. Yeah.
Oh, you do? Fantastic.
Yeah, we used to have pool parties. And I mean, when we used to go over and bring the kids when they were little. I've known, and I knew Matt from Peggy Fury's acting class. I've known him since the 80s.
I love that.
I've known Matt since 1985.
Follow her stuff. Let's help build communities, beautiful communities for grown-ass autistic kids.
Yeah, and severe autism. Women. For all those parents out there living,
we're going to find a breathing space.
We're going to make things for you. It's going to get better. It's going to get better.
Yeah, it's going to get better.
Yeah.
And you're in it to create it.
Yes, I am in it to create it.
Yeah.
That's my passion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're a beautiful model of being in gratitude in the thick of it.
Thank you.
That's powerful.
Thank you.
Subscribe to this podcast. Come to my event. I want you to be my guest at my event.
I'd love to.
And you're going to have to round these people up, though, because it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday in October.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Here. With Minda. You can come with Minda.
Oh, wow.
They can't sit together. I want other people to experience your love. That's it.
You're awesome what you're doing. I just so admire you. You really are.
I'm happy you're in my life.
I'm grateful for you. I really am.
Let's hug.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.